Urgent Chiefs Kingdom fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Chiefs Kingdom news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Could the Chiefs reunite with L'Jarius Sneed amid legal trouble with Titans? Things could get interesting for the Chiefs depending on how the Titans handle L'Jarius Sneed. The familiar refrain, "You can't go home again," is usually linked to the idea that returning to your past and the places of it will never feel the same as it once did. But perhaps the overall sentiment of a reunion could be in the works for the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Sneed is in some deep water these days as he faces a charge of assault with a deadly weapon following a shooting last December in Texas. Together with his injury-plagued first frustrating season with the Tennessee Titans, the team could decide to cut ties with the veteran cornerback instead of dealing with the drama. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated recently noted that new Titans general manager Mike Borgonzi, who was the assistant GM in Kansas City as recently as 2024, now has a major decision to make regarding Sneed. Breer also notes that the Chiefs might show interest if Sneed were back on the free agent market. Breer writes how the Tennessee Titans handle L'Jarius Sneed will be interesting, since new GM Mike Borgonzi was actually part of trading him away from the Kansas City Chiefs a year ago. Kansas City, for the record, really liked him, but was nervous about his bulky knee. I bet they'd bring him back if the Titans end up cutting him. Things could get interesting for the Chiefs, depending on how the Titans handle L'Jarius Sneed. This is all conjecture on the part of Breer, but the reporter wouldn't put something like this in his latest pre-draft NFL notebook unless there wasn't some real potential behind it. As for Sneed and any possible reunion with the Chiefs, there are 100 steps between the present and such a future event. The Chiefs have displayed patience with these sorts of legal concerns in the last decade, and Borgonzi was a part of that. It's likely that Borgonzi will allow the legal process to play out instead of making any hasty decisions regarding Sneed. Even at some point in which the Titans decide that it's better to release Sneed outright, the cornerback would undoubtedly be facing a suspension from the league related to his arrest, given the issues already present on the roster. The looming suspension for wideout Rashee Rice. Would the Chiefs really invite Sneed's baggage along as well? While Sneed would be a welcome addition to any secondary, it's also not as if the Chiefs' cupboard is bare at corner. Christian Fulton was a sensational addition in free agency who will bolster the duo of Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Will the Titans really cut and run from Sneed after making such a lucrative investment in him a year ago, including a third-round choice to the Chiefs in this year's draft? Would the Chiefs really bring him back given his recent arrest? There are a lot of moving parts here, and only time will tell, but Breer's column paints an interesting possibility in the months to come. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Chiefs Kingdom news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Former Chiefs star will regret leaving. Kansas City. This offseason among the Kansas City Chiefs, many offseason changes over the last few months revolves around departed safety Justin Reid. He was an instrumental part of the defense for 3 years during a dynastic run, making the Super Bowl in every season he spent with the organization, yet now he's moved on to the New Orleans Saints. Reid was a beloved, active member of the community. He'll be missed both on and off the field, though it's possible that Reid will miss Kansas City even more than Chiefs Kingdom will miss him. Now relegated to a team devoid of leadership with a disastrous salary cap situation and no quarterback of the future, the Saints have one of the bleaker outlooks in the entire NFL. Justin Reid will regret leaving Chiefs for Saints in free agency. In fairness to Reid, it doesn't sound like the exit was his choice. He earned the 3-year, $39 million contract he received from New Orleans, yet Chiefs general manager Brett Veach never seemed to express interest in offering anything close to Reid's value. He's been preparing for the 28-year-old safety's exit for the last couple of years, drafting both Brian Cook and Jaden Hicks with mid to high picks. Veach has famously never resigned a member of the secondary, and Reid now seems to be following in the footsteps of Tyrann Mathieu, who joined the Saints, following a similar 3-year deal with the Chiefs. That doesn't mean that Reid won't be missed, though. His locker room presence was invaluable, and he was a key voice to help relay defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo's play calls alongside linebacker Nick Bolton. For someone as competitive as Reid, it's still a punch in the gut to know he likely won't sniff the playoffs for the foreseeable future. Even if he does, the Saints have no chance to compete for a Lombardi trophy without a major change in the quarterback room and front office. Mickey Loomis seemingly has a lifetime contract, and his cap management pales in comparison to his peers, partially indicated by paying Reid top dollar despite having a roster in desperate need of a rebuild. Regardless, Reid will be fondly remembered. As a critical part of these last 3 years, he's a pro's pro and deserves better than what's likely to come for him during the length of this contract. On the draft board, why the Chiefs might take Ohio State tackle Josh Simmons. Kansas City used a top 30 visit on Ohio State's standout left tackle. On Friday, the Kansas City Chiefs, who could be prioritizing an offensive tackle in next week's NFL draft, hosted Ohio State left tackle Josh Simmons on a top 30 visit. He is considered one of the top offensive line prospects in the class. Here's what to know about Simmons. Background: an interior offensive lineman out Helix High School in La Mesa, California, Simmons was a 4-star recruit who had offers from more than 24 college programs before beginning his career at San Diego State, where he redshirted as a freshman before starting 13 games at right tackle in 2022. Following his transfer to Ohio State in 2023, he started a total of 19 games at left tackle over 2 seasons before he suffered a serious knee injury in 2024's 6th game. Simmons arrived at the NFL Combine measuring 6 feet 5 and 317 pounds, with 33-inch arms and 10-inch hands. Still recovering from his torn patellar tendon, he did not participate in the Combine's athletic testing and only did a quick session of drill work during his pro day. At that time, he also recorded an impressive 34 repetitions on the bench press. Because of his injury, his draft status remains murky. Nonetheless, he is widely expected to be chosen late in the draft's first round and might still be available when Kansas City goes on the clock for the 31st pick. While Simmons is slightly undersized for a tackle and arms are slightly shorter than Kansas City prefers, his film shows a player with the skills and athletic ability to play at the highest level. Film evaluation: Simmons' film shows a player with lightning-quick feet out of his stance and a strong base, which allow him to fend off most of the pass rushers he faces. Simmons is a high-level mover, which is made apparent by his first step. Driving to his inside and building power, his sets look effortless. He seems to glide as he meets edge rushers at the bend point. Simmons also displays good but not great hands. While his initial strike can lack power and needs some overall work, he is crafty. When Simmons is able to land his inside hands first, he has a good feel for what a defender's rush plan will be and usually has a solution to stop it. Simmons' best trait as a pass protector might be his ability to recover from and fight off an edge rusher's countermoves. His flexible lower body, along with a strong anchor and core, allows him to reset himself and wash defenders out of plays. There are still plenty of snaps where Simmons doesn't put it all together in pass protection, but on the snaps where he does, there are very few pass rushers who can beat him. Simmons is also strong in the running game, the same base and core. Strength that Simmons uses so effectively as a pass blocker helps him to create movement off the snap in the running game. He also plays nasty, fighting through the echo of the whistle on most of his snaps. In the running game, Simmons does a good job of timing his hands and feet. This synchronization allows him to win most of his solo blocks, making him a good fit for teams that run lots of mid-zone and inside-zone plays. When working in combination with other players on down blocks, Simmons transfers power well, allowing him to help his interior teammates rake over defensive linemen. An area where Simmons' tape pops is his ability to move in space. One of the more fluid movers in the class, Simmons will be a tremendous fit for teams that utilize screens, outside runs, and blocking looks that put tackles in space along the perimeter. Right out of his stance, he moves smoothly with very little wasted motion and is able to take on much faster defensive backs deep in the backfield. This movement ability is what makes him such an interesting prospect, especially for the Chiefs. The bottom line: now only 22 years old, Simmons was a fine college player. Still, his overall fundamentals and technique will require plenty of work before he can become a successful NFL tackle. But his knee injury has left questions about his recovery and whether he'll be able to maintain the athleticism he showed at Ohio State. This is precisely why the Chiefs brought him in for a visit to give their medical staff a chance to see how far along he is with his rehabilitation and if there will be any long-term issues from the injury. The answers to these questions will be important in determining where he is finally taken in the draft. Players with injury issues can turn the draft into a game of chance. An incorrect evaluation can leave a team in the lurch after investing a pick in an unproductive player. But the right assessment can lead to a draft day steal. Chiefs' updated draft visits. Point to 1 roster direction. The Kansas City Chiefs' need for offensive line reinforcement has been well documented since the Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Moore, a career backup with the San Francisco 49ers for 4 seasons, just 12 starts, is seen as the fix for the position. But guard Joe Thuney, a salary cap casualty, was traded to the Chicago Bears, which leaves a hole at guard too. Many think the Chiefs will take a left tackle early in the draft, with several mocks having Josh Simmons and Josh Connerly Jr. being selected the most. But the Chiefs' pre-draft 30 visit list might confirm their plans. Out of the 18 players chosen by Kansas City, 8 are offensive linemen and 5 are tackles Anthony Belton, Gerard Christian Lichtenhan, Caleb Etienne, Ariante Ursary, and Dalton Cooper. The other linemen are Mose Vavau, Esapol, and Bryce Cabeldu. So that might be fairly telling regarding which way the Chiefs might go early in the draft, with a glaring need at tackle and guard for the defending AFC champs. Other positions. On the Chiefs' 30 visit list are defensive line, receiver, running back, and tight end, but the offensive line feels the obvious choice in the early rounds. Of course, that could change based on how the draft unfolds, with the Chiefs not picking until number 31, but there does feel like an inevitability that it will be the offensive or defensive line in round 1, and the pre-draft 30 visits might have just tipped which way the franchise is thinking. And now, Chiefs fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Chiefs. I'll be back any moment with more Chiefs Kingdom news.